recently, Twitter has removed thousands of accounts linked to the QAnon conspiracy theory movement. If you're not familiar with the movement, they generally identify themselves with a big Q, like you can see here, or they say we are Q, or even the Great Awakening, with a Q in the middle for some reason. What exactly is QAnon and what does it mean? What does it stand for? Well, this article from the New York Times likens it to the Pizzagate conspiracy that happened back in 2016, I believe. And to me, that's not really a bad comparison, as we'll see in a little bit. First, where did it come from? QAnon originated with this user called Q, who I believe first started on 4chan. Q claims to be a government insider exposing an entrenched international bureaucracy that is secretly plotting all sorts of nefarious schemes against the Trump administration and its supporters. And these anti-Trumpers include a cabal of anti-American saboteurs who have taken over the government, industry, media, and various other institutions of public life. Now, if it stopped there, it wouldn't really be a conspiracy theory. I mean, they're not necessarily in secret, but it is very evident to anybody that the media, that Hollywood, those in Washington, very powerful individuals are extraordinarily anti-Trump. And they're going to do everything in their power to get him kicked out of office. I mean, we've seen that with Russian collusion, Ukraine collusion, and whatever we have now. There's always something. Now, again, it's not a secret conspiracy because they're very open about it and they're very anti-Trump openly. But it is certainly true that there are large swaths of very powerful people who are trying to take him down. The problem is, that's not where it stops. Its main conspiracy theories claim dozens of politicians and A-list celebrities work in tandem with governments around the globe to engage in child sex abuse. Followers also believe there is a deep state effort to annihilate President Donald Trump. The claims are essentially that dozens of powerful people are kind of like Jeffrey Epstein. And I understand Jeffrey Epstein had connections with a lot of powerful people. But that does not mean that everyone he was connected to was automatically like Jeffrey Epstein. He was one horrid individual, and it's unlikely that so many of other powerful people are going to be the same. It references the deep state, which I admit is somewhat accurate. There are plenty of powerful people in Washington who really want to do their best to get Trump kicked out of office. FBI agents saying they're going to stop Trump from winning the election kind of shows that. But it doesn't mean it's as deep-seated as QAnon supporters claim. As a result, Twitter has removed more than 7,000 accounts in the past few weeks, and they plan to limit the reach of some 150,000 accounts worldwide. They say, we will permanently suspend accounts tweeting about these topics that we know are engaged in violations of our multi-account policy. Twitter may not be the only social media platform doing this. It's possible that Facebook will join the fray. 3 sources familiar with Facebook's work on misinformation told CNN Wednesday the company is planning to take action against QAnon. It says they have been studying QAnon for some time and assessing how its existing policies would apply to QAnon. At this point, if you don't agree with the QAnon conspiracy theories, you may be thinking this isn't a big deal and it doesn't really matter because Twitter can do what they want. And that is true. Twitter has every right to apply their terms of service and their policies to whomever they want and however they see fit. However, the issue that many conservatives have, and I tend to agree with this, is that social media platforms like Twitter don't seem to apply their policies evenly. That they're much more likely to suspend or ban someone on the right than they are someone on the left. Let's look at Alex Jones, for example. When Alex Jones and InfoWars and all of that were removed from Twitter, it was met by applause on the left. Now, I'm not defending Alex Jones because he does have some pretty ridiculous theories, but contrast his removal on Twitter to Louis Farrakhan. Anyone who suggests removing Louis Farrakhan from Twitter will be met with outrage. Yet this is the same Louis Farrakhan who tweeted a clip of himself saying the following: "I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm anti-termite." Essentially calling Jews termites, which, not a very good thing. And yet Twitter has allowed his account to go on unchecked. Actually, let me rephrase that. He was suspended once, on accident, and when they learned what they had done, Twitter reversed that and reinstated his account. So Louis Farrakhan is on Twitter in good standing, even though he's very, very anti-Semitic and very extreme. Let's look at Jim Carrey as another example. He used to have a fairly good acting career and he was kind of funny, but now he's just dedicated to being as extreme and as crazy as possible. And nothing emphasizes that more than this painting that he put on Twitter. This was about a year ago when the governor of Georgia passed an abortion restriction bill that he didn't like. And so in response, he painted a picture of her being aborted. And as far as I'm aware, there was no suspension of his account, no removal, nothing. Even though this is a pretty grotesque image. And it's not the only one. He loves painting things like this because he's crazy. Like, what more do you have to say? As a last example, let's look at Sarah Jean, who about a year or two ago was being hired by the New York Times. During that process, a lot of her really ugly old tweets came to light, such as this. Are white people genetically predisposed to burn faster in the sun, thus logically being only fit to live underground like groveling goblins? Now just take a step back for a second and imagine any white person tweeting something like this about a person of color, whether it be black or Hispanic, whatever it may be. Do you think for a second Twitter would have been okay with it? Probably not. They would have at least been temporarily suspended, if not outright banned. And yet, that's not what happened. Perhaps I'll go into more detail in a future video about this, but the fact of the matter is, at least conservatives view this as a horrible bias. That social media platforms which lean very left are much more likely to ban and suspend people who lean right if they disagree with their policies. So that's my issue here. If Twitter wants to suspend and remove people for supporting QAnon, fine. They can do what they want. It is their platform. However, they should at least try to be even in how they're applying their banning and suspensions. Now at this point, I'm fairly certain I'm going to get some pushback for not agreeing with the QAnon theories. If you do agree with them, go ahead and let me know why down in the comment section below. You can try to change my mind. I don't think it's going to happen, but you can try and at least keep it civil. If you don't agree with them, you should leave a comment anyway because it helps the YouTube algorithm. While you're at it, leave a like and make sure you're subscribed. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.